My landlord tried to sue me for $20,000 in structural damages to my apartment, so I audited his entire 50-building portfolio and found a decade of insurance fraud. My landlord, Mr. Thorne, didn't realize that as a senior forensic structural inspector, I don't just look at walls, I look at the crimes hidden behind the drywall. Thorne is a real estate guru who prides himself on aggressive asset management. On my first day in the building, he sent a memo. I believe in structural discipline. Any modification, any scratch on the floor, or any unreported wear and tear is a breach of contract. I have zero tolerance for tenants who don't respect my investment. He used that discipline to terrorize everyone. The first person he crushed was a young couple on the third floor. He evicted them and kept their $4,000 deposit because of water damage that was actually caused by a leaking pipe in the hallway. He told them, take responsibility for your environment. Documented. The second was an elderly man named Mr. Henderson. Thorne cut off his heat in mid-January, claiming the furnace needed emergency upgrades, then tried to charge him a capital improvement fee to turn it back on. Henderson spent 2 weeks in a coat inside his own home. Documented. Then he came for me. When I gave my 30-day notice, Thorne sent me a damage assessment for $20,000. He claimed I'd compromised a load-bearing wall by hanging a TV. He threatened to ruin my credit score if I didn't pay within 48 hours. Thorne didn't realize that I'd been living in that apartment with a thermal imaging camera and a moisture meter. I didn't pay the bill. I didn't call a lawyer. I spent the next 3 weeks pulling every building permit Thorne had filed since 2015. I compared his tax-deductible repairs with the actual state of his buildings. I found the smoking gun. Thorne had been claiming insurance payouts for catastrophic roof failures across 5 different properties, but my thermal scans proved he'd never actually replaced a single shingle. He was pocketing the insurance money and painting over the mold. Photographed. I didn't confront him in his office. I waited for the Regional Real Estate Excellence Awards. Thorne was being honored as Investor of the Year. I walked into the ballroom with a thumb drive and a stack of city code violations. When Thorne stood up to give his speech about building a better community, I signaled the AV tech, who happened to be a friend I'd helped with a structural issue last year. The giant screen behind Thorne didn't show his Investor of the Year portrait. It showed a side-by-side of his insurance claims versus my forensic mold scans. I stood up and said, Mr. Thorne, you mentioned you have zero tolerance for people who don't respect investments. Does that include the insurance companies you've been defrauding for 10 years? The room went cold. 3 city council members were in the front row. I clicked to the next slide. It was the load-bearing wall he tried to charge me for. My scan showed it was actually a hollow partition filled with illegal, non-fire-rated insulation. You charged me $20,000 for a wall that violates City Code 402, I said. And I've already sent the full audit to the state fire marshal. Thorne tried to laugh it off, but the insurance adjusters in the room were already taking notes. I handed him a folder. It wasn't a check for $20,000. It was a class action lawsuit filed on behalf of Mr. Henderson and 20 other tenants he'd scammed. I looked at him and said, I believe in structural discipline, Thorne. And your foundation just collapsed. I walked out while the Investor of the Year was being questioned by 2 undercover detectives. Now his legal team is calling me predatory for using my professional tools to bait him. They say I've destroyed his reputation over a minor dispute. Am I the jerk for making sure the building finally met code?